Are you familiar with the movie Titanic? It's been over 2 decades since the movie's release, but it still reigns as one of the greatest love stories of all time, or at least the greatest love story that ends with two people freezing to death in the Atlantic. But kidding aside, given that you knew this movie, I bet you can also visualize its theme song, My Heart Will Go On. The movie and its theme song are like twins, and it's hard for them to be separated. And speaking of the movie's theme song, it was actually sung by one of the greatest artists in the world. Do you know who she is? So buckle up as we delve into the story of Celine Dion, how her rise to fame has started, her family, career, love life, and business ventures. Let's get started. You may know her as the woman with the powerhouse voice and a string of hits that have spanned decades, but do you know about her childhood and family? Celine Dion was born on March 30, 1968 in Charlemagne, Quebec, Canada. Yes, you heard that right, Canada. Our neighbors to the north have given us a lot of things, including hockey, maple syrup, and Celine Dion. She was the youngest of 14 siblings, which, let's be honest, sounds like an absolute nightmare. Can you imagine trying to get a word in edgewise with 13 older siblings around? I can barely handle one sister. Speaking of siblings, Celine's family was quite musical. Her parents owned a small piano bar where they performed, and her siblings all had their own musical talents. Celine herself started singing at a young age and quickly became known as the family prodigy. I can't help but wonder if her siblings ever got jealous of all the attention she was getting. I mean, imagine having 13 older siblings and still being the favorite. Despite her family's musical background, Celine's rise to fame wasn't exactly smooth sailing. She released her first album in French at the age of 13, but it wasn't until she was in her 20s that she really started to gain international attention. I don't know about you, but I feel like a failure in comparison. At 13, I was struggling to figure out how to use a tampon, and this woman was already recording albums. Impressive to say the least. But let's talk about the moment that really catapulted Celine into the stratosphere of fame. You guessed it, My Heart Will Go On from the movie Titanic. I mean, who doesn't love that song? If you say you don't, you're lying. It's like trying to say you don't like pizza or puppies. But did you know that Celine wasn't initially a fan of the song? She reportedly didn't want to record it because she thought it was too similar to other ballads she had recorded in the past. Thank goodness she changed her mind because that song went on to become one of the best-selling singles of all time. Not too shabby for a song she almost turned down, yes? Now let's circle back to Celine's family for a minute. Remember how I mentioned that she was the youngest of 14 siblings? Well, it turns out that her siblings were just as important to her career as her own talent. Her brother Jack wrote many of her early songs, and her sister Linda was her manager for many years. Talk about keeping it in the family. I can't help but imagine what family dinners must have been like. Do you think they talked about music all the time, or did they just argue about who got to sit next to Celine? But all jokes aside, Celine's rise to fame was no easy feat. She worked tirelessly for years before finally getting the recognition she deserved. And once she got that recognition, she never looked back. She sold over 200 million records worldwide, won 5 Grammy Awards, and has been named one of the most successful female artists of all time. And there you have it, guys. The story of Celine Dion's childhood, family, and rise to fame. I hope you enjoyed this video, but wait, there's more. Stay tuned for part 2 of this video, where we'll delve deeper into Celine's continued success in the music industry, her love life, as well as the business ventures she went on. Until then, keep listening to My Heart Will Go On, and remember that with hard work and determination, anything is possible. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Heroes Summary Channel.